What would you think if you found out that a stunning actress, well known for her fascinating performances, had a complicated and free love life, even making waves by coming out as gay? Susan Sarandon is that person. She is not only a remarkable actress who has won significant awards like the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, but she is also a strong, independent woman who relentlessly promotes social and political concerns, ranging from environmental protection to anti-war and human rights campaigns. Anyone who follows Susan Sarandon's path will be captivated by her life tale, which is full of surprises and mystery despite her complex personal life. On October 4th, 1946, Susan Sarandon was born in Manhattan, New York, into a big family consisting of 9 siblings. She was the oldest of 4 siblings, with 4 sisters, Meredith, Bonnie, Amanda, and Missy, and 4 brothers, Philip Jr., Terry, Tim, and O'Brien. After performing in nightclubs during the big band period, her father, Philip Leslie Tomline, went on to work as an advertising executive. With Sicilian ancestry on her father's side, her mother, Leonora Marie Christino, was an Italian housewife. In addition, Susan acquired German, Welsh, Irish, and English heritage. Susan, a timid and reserved youngster who spent much of her youth in Matan, New Jersey, grew up in a busy home. She went to Edison High School there, where she eventually earned her diploma in 1964. With no plans to pursue acting, she decided to attend the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. Susan attended acting courses when she was a university student, but she never imagined that it would influence her future profession. The history of Susan's family was not without difficulties. Her mother had a difficult existence after being abandoned when she was 2 years old and being raised by nuns. After giving birth to her mother at the age of 14, Susan's grandma vanished without a trace, leaving the family with severe emotional wounds. Throughout her life, Susan was greatly influenced by her family's love and protection, even in the face of severe hardships. Being the oldest of her siblings, Susan gained independence at a young age. She worked as a waitress, a hairdresser, a switchboard operator, a hospital bedpan cleaner, and an apartment cleaner until she found her calling in acting. She once made the unexpected choice to decline a scholarship to study ballet at the Boston Conservatory of Dance, choosing instead to pursue other creative endeavors rather than a career in dance. Despite coming from a big family, she did not always have a peaceful childhood. Susan and her family had a major emotional jolt when her parents divorced in 1982 after 40 years of marriage. This incident aided in her quest for personal development by causing her to reevaluate her life and her ties with her family. Susan Sarandon gradually overcame her difficult familial background with her naturally blonde hair as a youngster, a style that was ideal for the cinematic preferences of the period. She had a lasting impact as a strong social and human rights activist, in addition to being a Hollywood celebrity. Susan Sarandon had a surprising and difficult start to her acting career. She obtained a part in the relatively unknown movie Joe in 1970 while attending the Catholic University of America as a law student. This performance would unpredictably pave the way for her cinematic career. The movie was the first glimpse of her developing career, despite its lack of instant popularity. Few people in the business at the time could have imagined that this little, simple movie would be the beginning of one of the most incredible careers in Hollywood history. Susan had been in a movie called The Next Oasis before Joe came out, but the project was never finished and was canceled in the middle of production, leaving her early career as nothing more than a dim recollection. For someone who was just starting out in the film profession, this failure was devastating, but Susan used it as inspiration to keep going. After Joe, Susan played a number of supporting parts in TV shows and movies. Even though she did not become famous right away, these parts gave her more self-assurance and increased her audience familiarity. Notably, she started getting important roles in movies like The Hunger, 1983, and The Rocky Horror Picture Show, 1975, which would go on to become iconic works of culture, particularly for the LGBT+ community. Susan could not have predicted that her portrayal of Janet in The Rocky Horror Picture Show would become a lasting icon in both pop culture and the film business. This was especially unexpected, considering how poorly the movie was received when it was first released. Susan Sarandon established a strong foundation in the film business with these early steps, which were characterized by hardship and humble beginnings. Her early jobs set the stage for her remarkable career, even if they may not have garnered much attention. Her early struggles turned into a motivating factor that helped her achieve success that few could have predicted. Susan Sarandon is a cultural icon in addition to being an actor. A pivotal moment in her career occurred with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, 1975. Susan had never sang before and was rather worried about her performance skills when she played Janet. But this sensitivity ended up being one of the things that made her depiction so distinctive. In addition to her appeal, Janet, an innocent child lured into a strange and confusing world, became a symbol for defying conventional expectations on gender and sexuality. Although film did not succeed right away, the Rocky Horror Picture Show swiftly rose to prominence in the LGBTQ+ community and marked a turning point in the way society viewed these concerns. After that, Susan Sarandon joined a broader cultural movement and transcended her role as an actor. Dead Man Walking, released in 1995, was Susan Sarandon's biggest professional breakthrough. She reached new heights in her performance as Sister Helen Prejean. She did more than simply act. She gave a brilliant performance that encapsulated the nuanced aspects of her persona and persuaded everyone of her extraordinary abilities. The pinnacle of her commitment and accomplishments was her win of the Academy Award for Best Actress. As the movie addressed important topics like ethics and the death penalty, her part not only demonstrated her acting talent, but also reflected her strong political and social beliefs. Following Dead Man Walking, Susan kept showing off her skills in movies like Stepmom, 1998, Lorenzo's Oil, 1992, and Thelma and Louise, 1991, each of which contributed a unique dimension to her career. She played a strong heroine in Thelma and Louise who embodied independence and disobedience against social norms, a topic she fervently supported throughout her career. While Stepmom showcased Susan's flexibility as she portrayed a stepmother negotiating emotional and family problems with kindness and tenacity, Lorenzo's Oil was a moving tale of maternal love and the power of belief. Susan's ability to add nuance and variety to her roles, whether in comedies, action, dramas, or family-friendly movies, is what makes her stand out. She creates relatable and humorous moments in addition to mastering psychologically complicated characters, especially in Stepmom. Susan portrayed the emotional complexities and hardships of family connections, in addition to embodying the resilience of a stepmother. She comes up with a new and original way to give her characters life in each movie. Despite having a successful acting career, Susan Sarandon has many difficulties in her personal life. She was under a lot of strain when she married Chris Sarandon for the first time in 1967. The pair met at the Catholic University of America, where social and familial standards thoroughly examined relationships and love. Many young couples in the 1960s believed that marriage was inevitable because of the rigid expectations society placed on love and marriage. Susan subsequently said that she would not have married Chris if she had the choice. She disclosed that the choice was more influenced by outside forces than by love. "We got married just to avoid being expelled from school because we were students with no freedom," she said in reference to her previous marriage. There was limited leeway for personal preferences since the decision was mostly shaped by social and familial expectations rather than being made from the heart. Eventually, it became clear that the partnership was ill-prepared and lacked the maturity necessary to endure life's obstacles. Their marriage, which was founded more on social duty and stability than on true love, suffered from growing tensions and disagreements. After 12 years of marriage, these conflicts led to their divorce in 1979. For Susan, this marriage turned out to be a turning point in her life. It taught her that social or family expectations shouldn't control important life choices, especially those pertaining to marriage. Rather, they must originate from genuine comprehension and self-awareness. She discovered that partnerships created for other motives often result in regret and suffering. After this encounter, Susan made the decision to forge her own route in search of true love and happiness, unhindered by social or family norms. Susan's romantic life turned into a string of tumultuous and dramatic romances after her marriage to Chris Sarandon. She lived with filmmaker Louis Malle from 1977 to 1980 in the middle of the 1970s. Later on, she briefly dated Sean Penn, an actor, and David Bowie, a musician. But her most important and long-lasting relationship started when she met Italian director Franco Amori in the middle of the 1980s. After meeting on the set of Tempest, the two started dating in 1984. Their bond became stronger when Susan went back to Italy in 1987 to shoot Mussolini and I. On March 15, 1985, Susan and Franco had a daughter, Ava Amori. In spite of this, their relationship terminated, and the main causes of their breakup were divergent personal and professional interests. Susan's career was booming during the time they were dating, with big-budget movies and creative endeavors, which probably added to their conflict and estrangement. It was difficult for the couple to establish peace in their personal life, since Franco Amori, a filmmaker with his own job, had his share of expectations. The change in their life objectives might also have contributed to the separation. Susan may have had a changed perspective on the connection with Franco over time as a result of her evolving viewpoints and professional developments. However, Susan and Franco remained friends and co-parented their daughter Ava with mutual respect and accountability long after their split. Despite their disagreements, their continued collaboration demonstrated their common dedication to family. Despite the importance of Susan Sarandon's previous relationships, Tim Robbins ended up being her longest-term friend. The two had two kids, Miles, born in 1992, and Jack Henry, born in 1989, during their 23-year relationship, which began when they met while shooting Bull Durham in 1988. Given their shared liberal political philosophies and history as former Catholics, their relationship was considered to be among Hollywood's most solid and long-lasting alliances. However, their romance ended abruptly in 2009. Changes in Susan's life and work, especially after her appearance in the play Exit the King, were mainly blamed for the split. Playing a character who was about to die caused Susan to think carefully about many areas of her life, particularly her relationship with Tim Robbins. Their breakup was eventually caused by a rising feeling of disarray in their life, as well as changing views about her and their relationship. Susan refuted allegations that she had left Tim for a younger guy, stating that true connection, not age, was what mattered most to her in a romantic partner. It's interesting to note that in the summer of 2009, Susan told her family about the breakup only one day before the news was made public. Susan swiftly started seeing Jonathan Bricken, the son of Malcolm Bricklin, after splitting from Tim. They co-founded Spin, a network of ping-pong lounges that has locations in Toronto and New York. However, this relationship also ended in 2015, which opened a new chapter in Susan Sarandon's turbulent romantic history. Susan's changing relationships show that she constantly defies social conventions and expectations in her quest for real and meaningful connections. There have been many surprising and fascinating incidents throughout Susan Sarandon's life, even outside of her personal connections. She gained notoriety in the 2000s when she claimed that the U.S. government had been listening in on her phone calls and used the Freedom of Information Act to get her FBI data. She has never held back from disclosing startling personal information, such as her struggle with endometriosis. She once defied expectations by becoming pregnant for the first time at the age of 37, despite doctors telling her that surgery would be necessary if she had children. While jokingly pointing out that Franco Amori struck gold when they became parents to their daughter Ava, Susan revealed in a 2014 interview with Chelsea Handler that she had been avoiding birth control for years. Susan has been involved in media disputes as well. Following a story about a purported party at her house in December 2001 that caused public outrage, Susan declined interviews with the New York Post. She was also detained for unruly behavior during a demonstration against the murder of Amadou Diallo by 4 police officers in New York. Susan is well known for being frank and has never held back when expressing her strong views on social problems. The public isn't the only group criticizing Susan. Her kids have also voiced disapproval. Susan noted that seeing her act in personal or emotional sequences was often challenging and distressing for her boys, Miles and Jack Henry. They especially didn't enjoy seeing her in romance or death-related movie sequences. For example, her oldest son was said to be distressed and uneasy while watching Bull Durham, where Susan's character had a love involvement. Her kids still adore and respect her a lot in spite of these sentiments. In a historic 2015 interview, Susan Sarandon was very vocal about her flexible sexuality, which attracted a lot of public attention. For her, gender was not a deciding factor, but rather the sincere relationship between people, she said. When she said, "I don't care if it's a man or a woman," she became a symbol of freedom and boundary-pushing partnerships after making the shocking statement, "Gender, age, or skin color are just details. What matters is the connection between real human beings." This statement also prompted waves of support among the LGBTQ+ community. It was a daring declaration, defying social expectations, and claiming that love is not subject to strict limits. It is clear from examining Susan Sarandon's professional and personal history that she is not just a gifted actor, but also a strong-willed individual who is not scared to stand up for her beliefs in the face of opposition and criticism. Susan Sarandon is a cultural icon with a wide-ranging impact in addition to being a Hollywood celebrity. Her performances go beyond simple demonstrations of acting prowess, shattering stereotypes and opening doors for fresh viewpoints on freedom, human rights, and gender. Thelma and Louise, 1991, which not only influenced opinions on feminism, but also became a groundbreaking picture in questioning social conventions, is a tribute to Susan's influence on screen. Similarly, despite having a small part in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, 1975, Susan Sarandon rose to prominence among the LGBTQ+ community. The movie became a cultural sensation, motivating a generation to struggle for acceptance and independence. In addition to her work in film, Susan Sarandon has been a steadfast supporter of political and social concerns. She is an ardent activist who is always prepared to defend causes, including anti-war campaigns, environmental preservation, and human rights. Her dedication is shown by her practical actions, such as her 1984 journey to Nicaragua to assist underprivileged mothers sponsored by the Madre organization. This proves that she is more than simply a famous person. She really cares and acts in accordance with humanitarian principles. She has also consistently spoken out for underrepresented groups, especially the LGBTQ+ community, where she has been an outspoken ally and advocated for change via her positions and her stirring remarks in public. There is no denying Susan Sarandon's lasting impact. Whether it's via fearless performances or the audacious acts of a woman who isn't scared to speak up for justice, every project she works on raises awareness of social issues. She has inspired generations of artists and activists by redefining our understanding of important themes like feminism, sexual freedom, and human rights. Her reputation is based not only on her well-known movies, but also on her ability to inspire those who think that society can change and improve. Susan Sarandon, who has had several romantic relationships, now lives a self-sufficient existence and enjoys spending time with her loved ones, particularly her children and grandkids. She aspires to find a partner in the future and is open to the prospect of falling in love again, even if she is not actively looking for a new relationship. It's interesting to see that she now prioritizes embracing independence and seeking real relationships above just savoring family time. Susan still leads an independent life, unrestricted by her age or social norms. According to her, genuine connections and meaningful interactions between people are more important than age or beauty. She stands out for being open to love and living freely, and she is not scared to try new things. After a prosperous career, Susan Sarandon is said to be worth $55 million. Her riches is derived from her involvement in several television and film productions throughout the course of her career, in addition to her acting profession. She received large wages for big-budget movies, including Horizon Dancer, $2 million, Lorenzo's Oil, $4 million, and The Client, $5 million. Her accomplishments as an actor and as a person who has chosen significant and relevant roles are both reflected in her financial success. Susan Sarandon has an opulent lifestyle that includes expensive trips and a strong interest in the arts and cultural pursuits. She exhibits her deep interest in these subjects by actively participating in cultural and creative activities. Susan continues to be very active in social and charity endeavors outside of her work and personal life. She makes major contributions to her community and spends a lot of time with her family, especially her kids and grandkids. She remains an inspiration of dedication, not just to her profession, but also to the social ideals she cherishes as a loving mother, grandmother, and activist. Beyond her fame in Hollywood, Susan Sarandon is a potent representation of self-reliance and unwavering commitment. Her iconic roles in movies like Dead Man Walking and Thelma and Louise have permanently changed viewers' perceptions. Her unshakable dedication to social principles, rather than merely her acting prowess, is what really makes her stand out. Susan has bravely defended freedom, justice, and human rights, dismantling gender stereotypes and speaking out on delicate social topics. In addition to her accolades and accomplishments, her legacy will live on in the deep influence she has had on coming generations. Please feel free to comment about Susan Sarandon's life and profession. Which of her jobs most pleased you, and which of her personal tales had the most impact on you? To make sure you don't miss any more engrossing tales like this one, remember to click like and subscribe. Because it's your participation that keeps these tales alive, get in touch with us and share your comments in the space provided below. We'll see you in our next video.